Hey Apeksha, what's up?
Hey Srikanth, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks for asking. So, how's the interview and all that stuff going on? Training?
Yeah, it's going pretty good.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah. So how
Got
is
any
everything?
new, got any new interviews so far?
No, I talked to a recruiter today and yesterday. They both said they were not sponsoring. So yeah,
Again, the sponsorship question is popping up.
yeah. They did. I want. What do we say? They'll definitely ask that question in the uh, while asking the what do we
Mm-hmm.
say? Your visa status.
Mm-hmm. Right, right, right.
So I have to. I definitely have to say upfront because I do need sponsorship. If I had been on OPT or something, then I would have managed. But I definitely need it.
Okay, I'll call you in your morning again and my evening. Hmm?
Hmm. Yeah, yeah,
Let's have a talk regarding this. Even you
yeah.
can ask Shreya also how to handle all these questions as well, okay?
Hmm.
Because many of your interviews went this way. So you
Huh.
can ask help from her. She'll guide you. Hmm?
Yeah, yeah. I'll ask her, but most probably,
Hmm.
what I know from my experience is that it's the team that should decide. No recruiter or anybody cannot decide whether they what would be the approach. They'll definitely the recruiters. First thing is that they'll definitely ask.
Right. Hi,
Yeah.
Shreya.
Hi.
Hi, hi, Shreya.
Hi. Hi. Sorry, I had to restart everything.
No worries. It's okay.
Like, let me turn my video on, and I would love if you can turn it on as well.
Uh, Actually, I just put my machine to the docking station, so I have to take out everything.
Oh, okay. All right. No worries. I just like seeing so that I can get the whole picture, but that's fine if that is a inconvenience.
Yeah, I just put everything to the docking station. So if I had to give an interview with the video call, I'll take everything and I'll just put so
Okay. Okay. No worries. No worries.
yeah.
Perfect. How was your day?
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Was just yeah, I was just reading
Okay. All
reading
right.
stuff.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And then where are you located out of?
At present I'm in Cleveland.
You're in Cleveland. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I think your LinkedIn says
Ohio.
that you were in Seattle.
No, actually, I was in Seattle till September, but I lost my job and I am just staying with my brother. He said, "What are you doing?" They just come here, so I'm staying here.
Okay, yeah, only fair. I think it's always good to have someone around you when,
Yeah.
yeah, because job must be keeping you in Seattle, so only understand.
Yeah, that's what. You're in Seattle?
I'm in Seattle, yes, correct.
Oh, where in Seattle?
I am in Bottle since a couple of years.
Boston. Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, minus the rain part, everything else.
Yeah, the rain, but I just hate it.
Yeah. I mean, I started liking it, but I definitely not getting used to it anytime soon for sure.
Yeah, I'm not a person who likes rain, so I'm a person who likes sunny weather. So I'm just thinking to move to Texas or California.
Oh wow. I can only imagine. Only we always take like one trip to anywhere where it's sunny.
Hmm.
Around December, if we're not going to India, then we'll go to California. So we're going to California for the New Year's. But then we're
Oh,
not at Hawaii. Then we need the sun, like you were saying.
yes.
So
Yeah. Those are the two places we get the sunlight. So in the US,
yes,
Florida, Texas, and California.
correct, correct. So California is like doable because in your friends, you're not you don't have
Yeah,
to plan a vacation. You can just go. Like we're actually going and staying with friends. We're not
yeah,
going.
that's what happens.
Yeah, and there's so many Indians, so it doesn't even feel like that you've moved out because Seattle,
Yes.
there's like so many Indians, and then the same thing in California, so
Yeah,
it doesn't feel.
that's true.
Okay, so I have your resume, I have your LinkedIn, I have everything, so I kind of have
Hmm.
an idea.
Hmm.
What I was told that we kind of prepping for the interview. So
Hmm.
my idea is to just get an understanding of where you are in your interview process, or who you are as a candidate. And again, it's too quick to judge for 20 minutes, but that's what recruiters usually do.
Yes.
Look at the resume and judge you in 20 minutes. I'm going to do the same thing. But
Hmm.
the good thing is, the second part we'll try doing is I'll give you feedback. I'll see what you can improve on. Of course, I
Hmm.
can't see the video, so which is okay because a lot of phone screens happen without the video. So we
Yeah.
can do that. And then I can give you feedback of what can be improved, how it impacted me in terms of how it landed me. how it landed
Mhm.
on me as a recruiter, and then what can you improve in terms of storytelling or communication or confidence, whatever comes, by the end of it.
Yeah, sure.
So we'll try keeping like 20-ish minutes for the mock interview piece of it, and then
Mhm.
we get the feedback piece of it. But
Mm.
before that happens, do you have specific challenges for interviews, or do you have specific concerns when it comes to interviewing, or where you are in your interview process?
Right now I'm talking with the recruiters. So it was going good. They were asking me some behavioral questions and also tell me about yourself. It was going good. The main reason it was not going to the second round, it's because of the visa issue. I won H1B. So
Mm-hmm.
most of the recruiters say that we don't sponsor. So it doesn't depend upon the recruit, depends upon the team that they are hiring. So
Okay.
that's the reason. And mostly, yeah, and mostly it's because of some low salaries or else my technical skills. It's not aligned with the job description. That's something like that. But mostly it was uh, the main reason it was because of if they're sponsoring, they're just moving me to the second round. But if they're not sponsoring, it's outright rejection.
Right, because if they won't sponsor, then there is no point taking you to the next round
Yeah,
talking about it. Okay,
yeah,
only fair. But then that's one thing that you said that you aren't facing any challenges. But then tell me what these
yeah.
challenges.
There's one. I always feel like I have some questions. So how do we end? Tell me about yourself. How
Yeah,
do we
I
end it?
okay.
So
Then how do you usually end it?
I usually end with telling my what do we say. I have done my engineering in both uh, engineering. I have done my engineering and I've also done my masters in business analytics. So I bring both technical and also analytical abilities to the team.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I got into the job description that I have seen. You need both the person who knows the business very well and also who have the analytical skills to understand that business. So
Right.
I hope that I would be the best person to for this job and I have applied for this job. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, I think that pretty much sounds good to me. I probably ask my candidates to always say that once they're done with everything, they're like, oh, this is a small summary of my professional experience. And then
Hmm.
I would love to have any follow-up questions that you might have, or if you have any follow-up questions, I'm open to answer. Something like
Yeah.
that would kind of makes it open-ended, but I think the way you were ending it also sounds good that now I have both business and analytical piece,
Hmm.
which is important for the overall growth of the organization.
Hmm.
But also, it looks like the end of the sentence from your end. The recruiter might not know if this is the end or you are adding more to it. So you can actually
Hmm.
say like, this is an idea of my professional summary, and then, I would love to see if you have any follow-up questions or what follow-up questions do you have. So just giving it back to them.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Yeah. Okay. I'll try that.
Yeah, of course. And then give
Yeah.
me an idea if you had to improve on specific things related to interview. What would that you would want to improve on as a candidate for yourself?
As a candidate myself, I just wanted to improve on creating the scenarios
Mm-hmm.
creating the scenarios and just explaining those scenarios in a brief way, not in a very, what do we say, in a concise way, not all the technical jargon or anything, because the recruiters might, some people might understand, some people might not understand. So I don't know whether they might understand or not. So the technical jargon, I should, what do we say, reduce using, I should use very little, and then I have to try to explain it to them in such a way that they are in understanding what I am doing
Right.
in a very lame way. So there are some. I just need to prepare those scenarios.
Okay, okay. And then
Yeah,
you said that you've cleared a couple of first rounds, right?
yeah.
Not for the sponsorship. You have cleared a couple of rounds.
Hmm.
What do you think went well in those in terms of scenario or behavioral questions? Because I know the first one is mostly behavioral. They just ask about your work here and there, right?
Yes.
So what happened, which you think was really good, and then you did well in those?
Uh, the first. That's what I'm saying because I was, to be frank, I worked as a software development engineer at Amazon. It
Mm-hmm.
was a part of. I was also doing data analysis, but it was very little. I was doing my backend engineering.
Okay.
Mostly, it was backend engineering for AWS. So I wanted to move to data analysis.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, okay, I have done my master's in data analytics. So that's why I thought, okay, I'll move to data analytics. That's where my heart lies.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, okay, I'll move there. And that's where I have a problem because I have worked on something and I have to explain it something based on very little work experience that I have done. So it's sometimes getting difficult to just get that situation and then just frame up the answer. So
Okay.
I'm working on it, but yeah, it takes some time.
Yeah, only fair. If you have to um, work and speak about transferable skills, then
Hmm.
it is challenging for sure. Then, if you would have just had to speak about being a software engineer, then it would have been easier because then you just have to
Yes.
say the exact thing that you did. But yeah, if you speak about transferable skills, it can be difficult.
Hmm.
So let's do it that way. That we would just talk about like you would speak with a recruiter for let's say 20-ish minutes, and
Yeah.
then we can get into like feedback and what
Yeah.
we thought could have been better, and then we can try it all over again.
Yeah, sure. And also one more thing. So while tell me about yourself. So from I should say about first I'll start about my name and then I'm doing this and this. I'm doing at present in my job. I have worked on this project.
Mhm.
And then afterwards, should I say all my history where I studied, or else my previous work experience, or else the first work experience would be good, ending
Um,
there.
So tell me that how many years of total experience do you think you have in the industry?
Oh, I have 4.5 years.
Yes, so then you can, if you would have like let's say 7 to 10 years of experience, I would have said it do not touch upon anything. But
Hmm.
if you have like anything within 5 years, I would really say touch upon it. But then when you say touch upon it, that means you're going to speak about um what position you held, and then
Hmm.
what kind of stakeholders, as in other teams that you work with, and what kind of projects that you have worked with. So just give a small idea, just give a short idea of what kind of projects you have worked with. So not
Hmm.
elaborated version of it, and that's why in the end you say that if you have follow-up questions, I'm open to answer because
Hmm.
you know that the other person, of course, would have answers, right?
Hmm.
And I tell my clients usually there's that try keeping that within 3 or 3.5 minutes. The
Hmm.
tell me about yourself piece of it, right? It should be anywhere
Hmm.
between 3.5 minutes because that is enough engagement. Anything more than that, you would lose their concentration completely. If
Yeah.
you're going on and on, then you're just going to lose them somewhere in between.
Yeah. That's true.
So yeah, so I would say yes, touch upon your work experience, but do not go elaborative about it because if you're
Hmm.
speaking about it for 7, 8 minutes, they're just going to doze off on the other end.
Yes.
Is that
Got it.
was it the only question before we start?
Yeah, that's it. And yeah, for even for the first project, also the present job, I don't need to explain it elaborately while tell me about yourself. I just need to touch base it, what I am doing. That's it, and then go to the next job and next, and then
Yes,
that's it.
correct, correct. And I'm gonna try time you and and so I'm gonna look at my phone a couple of times. I'm gonna time you for your answers so that I
Hmm.
have an understanding of if it's too less or if it's too much because a couple of my clients would just go on and then
Hmm.
if I ask them to shorten it, they would shorten it like within a minute and then within a minute is not enough for an answer.
Yeah.
So keep all of your answers above 2 minutes. But tell me about yourself needs to be within 3.5 minutes because it's the very first conversation. You cannot go on about it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. Hmm.
Okay. So let's just start. We're around 7:15 ish. We're in the same time
Hmm.
zone as.
It's 10:15 for me.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I was saying. Is it in the same time zone or not? I'm so
No.
sorry. So late for you in the night. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Actually, I thought it's 8:30 p.m. tomorrow, but Apeksha just messaged me it's in 25 minutes. Okay, then I just checked it 8:30 a.m. in
Oh
Indian
yeah,
time.
yeah. She
Yeah.
does a good job of like putting in my calendar. So for me, there's no confusion because it's on my calendar. If it's not in your calendar, then you should probably put it on your calendar. So I
Yeah.
like it that way. Okay.
Yeah. Usually at 10 o'clock, I'll just put it aside and I'll just watch TV, and then she messaged me, and
Oh
then
my God. I'm glad she did then. For
yeah.
me, 10 o'clock is like sleeping time. I'm a baby. I'm off by 10.
Oh,
So yeah.
I'm a very nice late sleeper, so it's okay.
I changed like a decade ago where I was like, I'm
Uh,
pretty sure I want to be like an early riser. So which is a good
yeah.
okay, let's start with
Okay.
it so that we have an
Mm,
understanding and that we get enough time to like talk about what could have changed.
mm.
Okay, so we'll start with the very basic of like introducing and blah, 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 and then take it from there. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
sure.
Hi Srikanth, how are you doing today?
Hey, hi. Hi, Shay. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm great as well. I'm excited for our conversation today.
Oh, thank you. Even I'm very excited about the conversation today. And also thanks for picking up my resume and calling me.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. No, I think you have some impressive work, and then I'm very excited to know more about it and to see if this is a fit for the role or not.
Yeah, sure, definitely. I'm happy to let me know about you.
Yeah, absolutely. So while we're here and talking about the work, why don't you give me a little idea of like your work and then tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yes, coming, as you know, I'm Srikanth. So I have an experience of over 4.5 years working as a data analyst. Uh, I used to work with a lot of data and bring actionable insights with the large data sets for that data. In my present role, I have an experience of around 1.5 year working at Amazon as a data analyst. And my while working as a data analyst at Amazon, I was working in Route 53. Route 53 is a DNS routing service where if we enter a uh, URL name, it just goes to the server and goes to the server, takes the IP address, and then bring back the address to you. So it was a DNS routing service, and I have worked on 3 different projects while working at Amazon. The most recent project that I have worked at Amazon was Jewel Publishing, or else the Zone replication. It was about migrating the data from one cloud partition to the another cloud partition. So there have used tools like Python, Tableau to, and also have done some backend engineering and written some APIs to transfer the data from uh, one partition to another partition. And before that, I have worked on a completely backend engineering project where I have tested the private hosted zone in the opt-in regions. AWS has some opt-in regions where we can use that region only when we are opted into it. Specifically, the only admin can give access to it. So I have written the test cases where instead of customer hitting the website, we hit the website and we'll know the details. And also after that, I have worked on the GDPR guidelines back at Amazon. It was it I We have implemented the GDPR guidelines in Europe, and also the China has started a new law, so that we have implemented that in China region. For the China region, also have worked as a data analyst, where I have used different metrics to uh, create the dashboards and clean the data using SQL and Python and Pandas. And before joining Amazon, I was doing my master's in data business analytics from the University of North Texas. Uh, while working at the university, while doing my master's at the university, I was working as a data analyst intern at the university itself. I used to work for the treasury department where we used to see the regular revenue and expenditure of the university. We also worked on a project for the UNT downtown building where it was making some losses. Have created a dashboard, some given proper insights, and they were implementing those insights. And last time I spoke to my manager, it was going in a profit mode. And before coming to the US, I have worked as a data analyst at Tata Consultancy Services for British Telecom. The British Telecom is a client where it's a telecom client in UK. We used to deal with the data of the customers, where how many customers have been created, how many customers were revenue was generated in a day, how many new customers were there. There were different products for the British Telecom, like broadband, VoIP, and all those things. So I was working on creating the dashboards and manipulating and getting the data using the SQL. So when I saw your job description, I have felt like you are using Tableau and SQL, and also you need some skills to clean the data. I have also worked on the business side of the things to get the requirements and all. So you need all those things, and I also have a degree in engineering. So I bring both analytical and technical skills to the team. And also I can understand the business easily, where we need to talk to different stakeholders from technical and also to the business. So I feel I will bring add value addition to the team. So that's all about me. So you can ask me any questions if you have any.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for that rundown. I think that was very insightful. So I appreciate um the the, the brief experience follow up.
Thank
Can
you.
you give me a little bit more idea about what was the last project that you were working on at Amazon? And you said that your resume
Hmm.
mentions that there were a couple of projects that you were working on.
Yes.
What was the last project that you were working on at Amazon? And then talk a bit about like what was challenging about that project.
The last project that I have worked at Amazon was about the jewel publishing. What we have done is that it was a customer's pain point for the US government. So we used to store the data in US commercial partition, even for the US government, for the Road 53, for Road 53 service. So what the US government wants is that it doesn't want its data to be in the commercial partition. It wants it to be in the government, its own cloud partition. AWS has different partition for the US government. So it wants to write all its data to the only to the Gov cloud. So what's the challenge that I have faced most here is that it's a Route 53 is a very big service where I think each and every service of AWS uses a Route 53 for its DNS services. So some applications S3, it didn't, there is a particular API where the S3 was not able to develop it, and we can't migrate everything what the US government has asked. So there were some pain points for that. And we have made a turnaround, and we just what do we say, we have extended the schedule for S3 team to upload what do we say, to write the code for it and implement the application from there, and then we get the data from the S3, and then from S3 to we used to push the data to the US Gov cloud. So that was the overall project. And from the Gov cloud, we used to pull the data from the Redshift database and then clean the data using Python pandas. You pull the data using SQL and use Python pandas to clean the data, and then push it to the SQL reporting table, and then use that table to get the proper business insights, like so how many queries, how much revenue does each US government department generate, so what's the log, what's the issues they are facing. So I used to do all these things. Mostly it's about backend engineering and also about doing visualizations and making dashboards and presenting it to a manager.
Okay, all right. And then my second question was, what were the challenges about the project? So what were your
Uh,
challenges overall about the project?
yeah, the most challenging part was that some teams were way ahead in building some applications, and some teams like for example, there was a frontier team in Amazon where it's far ahead in its implementation, and it needs for sure. And also there is one service, infra DNS, where it needs this service as early as possible, because the customers of US government for the infra DNS team, they are behind them, like we need it ASAP. And there are some teams like S3 where the data is too huge, and then they were not able to cope up with building that. And because of the low staff also, they were not able to build it in time properly. So we have to coordinate with all these people and bring a realistic solution
Mhm.
to the project. So what we have done is that we have bypassed S3. They have made some code that we can't take the bulk data, but we can take chunks of data, and then they have bypassed it. We while designing it, we have bypassed S3 to get that little bit chunks of data, and then push the data into the uh, US Gov Cloud partition. So that was the very challenging part about discussing it and designing it. That was the challenging part of the job.
Okay, all right. And then just give me an example where you had to acquire like a new skill or a new knowledge to keep on going in the project or to get
Mhm.
more your hands-on data analysis capabilities.
Yes. Yes. Uh, while working at Amazon, there was a peculiar situation for me. Like while I was working for testing the private hosted zone for AWS Route 53, I was actually Amazon AWS uses Ruby to build their pipelines. The infrastructure is all built through Ruby. So I have never learned Ruby. I didn't know anything about Ruby. So what I did was, at first thing I told my manager that I need some time to learn.
Mhm.
So I just gave him heads up that okay, I need some time to learn Ruby. So he thought he knows, he gave me an insight before joining the team, like everybody in the team doesn't know Ruby, so it's okay. I just gave an heads up so that he'll have an idea. So
Mhm.
I I have learned it through YouTube. I've learned it through Coursera, and then I have gained my skills. And then within a proper time frame, I have learned Ruby in a very brief way where we can implement the infrastructure using that code and then understand the code. And then I have finished the task in stipulated amount of time without taking too much of time. So that was the time where I have learned a new thing and delivered.
Okay. And then, what are the things that you think that you need to improve as a data analyst in the future for your growth and your professional development?
Excuse me, could you repeat that question?
Yeah, absolutely. What
Hmm.
are the things that you think you need to work on or improve on as a data analyst for your growth and for your professional development?
Uh, for my growth and professional development, I would first focus on learning the machine learning models, where I can use the data to perform the machine learning models like regression, LSTMs, large learning model, LLMs, and also the clustering techniques, where I can use this data and then feed the data and then build a model on this.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I would be. That's what I am thinking to learn in my future stages while working as a data analyst, and use that data that we have in the company and then build models using that data, which would be helpful for the company.
Okay. All right. And then give us an idea where you had to manage multiple projects or multiple deadlines for data analysis. And then how did you manage that? And like, how did you organize your work?
Uh, Actually, while working at Amazon, we do have an on-call schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So even while working on on-call, even the manager says that, okay, you can just work on the ticket queue while you're on call, but the deadline is also the most important thing. So what I did was that first I used to check with the I used to just first uh, clear the tickets one after the other. There were some days where I used to get uh, lots of tickets, and there are some days where I used to get very little or else no tickets. So if there are no tickets for me, then I'll be working on the date. I'll be working on my tasks for that sprint.
Mm-hmm.
So this is how I managed the things. That was during the on-call schedule of mine. It was pretty challenging for me to check both the tickets and solve the ticket queue and clear the ticket queue for the team, and then working on my own project within the stipulated amount of time. So that was some of the challenging times. It comes every 2 months for 2 weeks.
Okay.
So it was challenging every 2 months.
Okay. And then talk about an experience or a project where you had to collaborate with other collaborators or with other team members, other stakeholders
Mhm.
on, any of your projects, and then how did you make sure that all of you were on the same page?
Um, First, for the project, for the GDPR project, like for making the Road 53 services GDPR compliant in China, so I have talked to a few teams. Uh, there was uh, there was a team for there was an SQS team where we get the messages whether the account has deleted or not. Well, the GDPR guidelines is nothing but if the customer has deleted the data, so the company should not keep the data. They should delete the customer's data. If it has a business purpose only, they should keep the data. So that's the main purpose of GDPR. So while working on the GDP, while implementing the compliance for the Route 53 in China region, so I used to interact with uh, SQS team, SNS team, and also the DynamoDB team, where the all the hosted zone information is stored, and the SQS and SNS team, where if the hosted zone is deleted in the DynamoDB table, we just push a message to SNS and to the SQS, and then SQS is then rerouted to our application. It was called as account events handler for us. So I used to interact with lots of people, and I used to sit with the team and implement, okay, what's happening. So what do we say? How do we implement this? So I used to sit and, for example, there was a situation where one of the pipeline was not working.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the pipeline was not working, and then data pipeline, and then sat with the team, and then we have deprecated the pipeline, and then we made a shortcut for another pipeline because both of them are using the same packages. the same Python packages. So we just connected it to the that package, and then we have finished the project within a stipulated amount of time.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Great. And then give me an idea. Why do you think this is a great fit for your next role?
I have seen your company where you have come from. So I thought being a company like yours, you'll be having a lots of data. And I I'm a person who loves to work with data and give proper business insights.
Mm,
And then with the help of my ideas and my insights, if the business is growing, I'd be feeling very much happy about it.
mm,
And based on the market revenue and also the customers that you have, you'll be getting huge amount of data.
mm,
So that's the main reason why I chose this company to apply for. And also when I saw the job description, I have seen your job description. It requires all it. It I feel like I have all the necessary skills that are required for the job, like using the Tableau, using having technical skills in SQL, and also able to speak with the business people and also with with the technical people. So I feel like I would be a good person to perform this job that you're looking to perform this job. And I feel like I'm the great fit for this position. So that's why I have applied for this job.
okay. All right. I think that kind of sums up the questions that I had for you.
Mhm.
What question do you have?
Uh, so the first question that I usually ask is that how many rounds would there be in the coming, how many rounds would be in the next phase? And then what's the duration of it? That's that would be my first question. Yeah.
Okay. And then what would be your second question?
So what are you expecting? So if I'm coming to the job, so what uh, I have a list of questions. So I just wanted to know what would be the typical career progression in your company for someone in this role, and also how does my role would contribute to the overall success of the company and also to the team. I just wanted to know.
Okay. All
Hmm.
right. Um, okay, perfect. Thank you so much. I think that kind of sums
Thank
up
you.
my questions that I have. How do you
Mhm.
feel?
It was pretty good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Were any of the questions challenging for you?
No.
Okay. And then did you think that you answered them to a level that you would want to answer to a recruiter?
Uh, Mostly yes, but for some questions like the cross team, how do you interacted with the cross team? That's not the thing. I have to prepare that question. I have to write the answer. It's not the thing that I'm satisfied with. That's the one question.
Mm,
And also about the company. Why do you want to join this company, or why do you think you are fit for this role?
mhm.
So those are the two questions I feel like okay, I should have done better.
Done better. Okay, all right,
Yeah.
sounds good. So for of course the last one would be like what questions you have. Definitely don't ask about the round durations and all because
Hmm.
they usually do answer that. If they don't answer that by the end of it, then you can be like, when can I expect to hear from you? And then what would be the whole duration? That can be the very last sentence that you ask. And then
Okay.
the idea of like, what does the career progression, not typical, but what does the career progression um, for a data analyst looks like from here?
Hmm.
Asked that. That was a great question. And definitely, I love the question when you said that, how does my role contribute to the overall success of the company? That was a great question as well. So definitely do ask these two questions.
Hmm.
And then roles and expectations, if they do not, roles and expectations, they usually tell you in terms of what the team looks like, what are you going to do, what kind of projects you'll be working on. If
Hmm.
they don't, that can be your second question for sure.
Hmm.
Like what is the role, where do I fit in the team, and like what kind of projects I would be working with. So that definitely is a good question. I
Hmm.
would not suggest asking rounds and durations and anything because you'll any which ways get to know about that soon.
Yeah. Okay. Usually I
And
ask the first. That's the first question I ask to every recruiter.
they would usually tell you, and if they don't,
Hmm.
at the end when they're like, oh, I'll keep you posted, and then I'll send you an email, like when they're closing it, you can be like, can you give
Hmm.
me an idea when can I expect a reply, and then what will be the overall duration of this whole process, and they'll probably tell you that.
Okay.
Okay. So the first question was, tell me about yourself. I think you went on for like 3.5 to 4 minutes, I think, which was solid. It didn't feel like I was getting disengaged, but in the beginning, I didn't hear a lot about who you are in terms
Okay.
of how many years of experience do you have, and then what kind of languages. So I would like you to frame it that way, is that, hey, I'm a data analyst with this many years of experience. I have worked on languages and tools and applications, blah blah blah. I've worked on languages, da da da. I have worked on tools and
Okay.
applications like da da da. Why? Because the first minute I'm actually listening to everything that you're saying. After that, I'm busy taking notes and I could just hear keywords and I probably won't hear every bit of the. So the first minute needs to be the most important information. Then you got into
Mhm.
Amazon and I think you started explaining each product is what you did. I would say the explanation was really good. I would cut it short a little bit because in you were losing my interest in between, which is not a good thing ever.
Okay.
Why? Again, because I think you said that in the beginning, because recruiters are not techie people. They
Hmm.
just know what they want to hear and they just want to hear it that sense. Plus the soft skill piece of it, right? Do I understand that? Does the candidate understand that this is elaborative or this is non-elaborative? Right?
Hmm.
That's a kind of a storytelling piece of it, which is the soft skill.
Hmm.
So I would say do not be that elaborative because it's only 3.5 minutes. So I would not say that you would too out there, but you
Hmm.
could have cut down 30 seconds of Amazon description.
Okay.
I like that you talked about campus work because then it showed that continuous piece of it. So that was a really
Hmm.
good bit. I think when you were talking about India, I think you started talking about what British Telecom did,
Hmm.
um, which was good. It was one liner straight up. This is what they did. Full stop.
Hmm.
Keep it to that. Do not over explain at all. Um,
Okay.
I think you started explaining a lot about what kind of customer data were you guys working on,
Hmm.
right? And there were more than, I think, four examples that you give that customer
Yeah.
data about this is this. We don't need that because you can just directly get into customer data related to da da da. Just
Hmm.
speak. Like,
Hmm.
how we keep bullet points on resume. It's extremely important to not reuse the same words that customer data related to this and also customer data related to this. This kind of
Hmm.
shows that you were actually thinking in the background that what other customers' data can I share and talk about.
Hmm.
Again, this is how it landed on me. I'm pretty sure that you had something else in your mind when you were saying that, right? This is
Hmm.
how it landed on me.
Yes.
I like that your closing was clean. I think you did say that, oh, this is all about me, and let me know if you have any follow-up questions, right?
Hmm.
I would probably get rid of this is all about me because there is so much more about you. Three and a half
Yes.
minute cannot define you and your work at all.
Hmm.
I would probably say this is an idea of my professional work, and this is a brief idea of my professional work, and I would, love to hear what follow-up questions do you
Hmm.
have, right? So don't close it on in terms of like, oh, this is all what I have done, or this is all what I need to tell you, anything like that. Like, just say that this is a brief idea of my professional experience, and I would love to hear more.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does it
Yeah.
sound? That's a lot of information. How does it sound?
Yeah. It sounds pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. Because
Yeah.
that's what I said. I tried timing you most of the times because then I
Hmm.
wanted to make sure that we have an understanding of how is that sounding to me because I don't want it to be um, 30. And this was literally like maybe 20-ish minutes, and I'm pretty sure a recruiter would want to speak, 5 more minutes to you about this. But yeah, this is how it sounded to me. Okay, the second question was, what was the last project you worked on, right? Do
Hmm.
you remember how did you do it?
Uh, I think I explained it pretty nicely only the way that a recruiter can understand. Not, I didn't use any
Right, right.
technical jargon. So
Not in
I
this
just,
one. Yes, I.
yes.
Sorry. Say it, please.
Oh, no, no, I'm just saying that I didn't use too much of technical jargon. And also I've used very little tools, and I just told you the tools about what I have used, like SQL, Python, and also the backend engineering, and then using APIs. So very little things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes and no both. So I'll tell you what I feel. So good things you already know. So I'm not going to repeat that. Since
Hmm.
I'm not mentioning anything, that means it's a good thing. We're only going to talk about the critical feedback because we have limited time. So
Yes.
I'll mostly talk about critical feedback. So good things definitely in short would be I'm glad that you explained the project, what were you all doing and everything. I didn't hear what position you were at in that project.
Okay.
Right? So I
Hmm.
would want to hear when I was working at Amazon as a data analyst, or I worked on a project which is X as a, and I also was treated as a backend engineer. I
Hmm.
was appointed as an analyst, but I also was treated as a backend engineer. So now that clarifies in my mind who are you for the project, and then the next step is what the project was. Um, like I
Okay.
said, technically you did really good. I didn't hear a lot about if there were stakeholders related to that project, but it's always good to include like a couple of stakeholders that my team worked with, this company, and then the project was
Hmm.
also impacting them if there were any stakeholders. So definitely.
Yeah, I had think I have told the stakeholders, the US government.
Okay, okay, all right. Then maybe I
Yeah.
missed. Okay, perfect. If you did,
Yeah.
then that's and then I think there was a little bit more elaborative on process. Somewhere in between, I didn't take the word exactly what I thought was elaborative, but then um, including what languages and tools you used was perfect for me, because then
Hmm.
I could actually relate, and those were the keywords for me as a recruiter, right? I would want to write those down. But then in between, there were some processes which I was like, oh, I don't have to hear this. And I don't know why my mind was like, oh, I don't have to hear this. But again, you were within 2.5 minutes, so which was great. I didn't lose you anywhere, so which was also great. But then, um, if you realize in between in any of these behavioral questions that you have so much more to share about what you have done and what was the impact,
Hmm.
try reducing on the process. That's the
Okay.
only thing you can reduce, right?
Hmm.
Do not reduce on the impact, do not reduce on the results, do not reduce on your learnings, just reduce the process overall.
Okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
And then application tools, yeah, yeah. And then you didn't answer that what the challenge was, right? So anytime a recruiter asks two sets of questions.
I think I have answered the challenges, but two sets of I have included the challenges too while telling the project. I should have explicitly mentioned challenges.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Because then in the process, if you're telling me someone who's a not even a third party, probably a fifth party to the project, I
Hmm.
wouldn't know, are you explaining the process and what were you doing through the process, or are you exclusively telling me these were the challenges and that's how we overcame these, right?
Hmm.
So for an example, if I'll tell you that, oh, I got up in the beginning of the meeting and like, oh my, everything got restarted, right?
Hmm.
So is that me telling you the process, or is that me telling you the challenge of this process?
Yeah, it was just telling the challenge. Yeah.
Correct. So which is perfect, but it didn't come across that way. So
Hmm.
make sure that you mention that the question that they're asking that. Again,
Okay.
can be how it landed on me,
Hmm.
because some of the things you explained were really well for me because I could understand, and that's the reason I could take so many.
Hmm.
Um, okay, the next one was describe a situation where you had to acquire a new skill. I love the example, absolutely. I think you explained the situation and the project also really, really well. I liked how you went from process to process in terms of, oh, you communicated it with the manager, you talked about time frame and schedule and everything, and then you also talked about, oh, you were able to complete the project on time. And I was absolutely looking for that because I wanted the result and the impact as well. And
Hmm.
that kind of looked like a very complete answer. Because I love giving critical feedback, I really give this, that
Hmm.
in the end, if you have to add, you can be like, I'm glad I got to learn this, because then now I can use it on other projects as well. And then the time frame and the learning curve is literally zero because I learned something new already. So that would show that continuous use of something that you've already learned.
Hmm.
Literally
Sure.
brilliant. But I think this that was like a 100 on
Oh, thank you.
100. um, and then what are the things that you need to improve on as an analyst to grow in your career? How was that question for
It was a, uh, I would say it was a from medium to hard type of question. But
you?
yeah, it was, I can take lots of scenarios in my head, but the thing that I can just get it on the flow, I just spoke it.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's always good to have unexpected and uncertain
Hmm.
questions, because all of us are so prepared with the behavioral questions that we know, array, they're going to ask, tell me about yourself, they're going to ask about the role. It's good to have unprepared questions, because then you know how are you going to react in those situations. And that's the actual test of when you speak with the recruiters, because the recruiter round probably is the easiest one.
Yes.
how you check your nerves are like, in the further rounds. So you
Hmm.
never what I thought you started doing was stammering was the first thing that came to your mind.
Hmm.
And then when you were trying to repeat what the question was just so that you can get the answer, but then you continuously were stammering. I would really say if you're not sure what you want to say, just say that, hey, can I take a couple of minutes to just jot down my notes?
Hmm.
Write it literally and take a put a deep breath and then go about it because as much as I care about the right and the correct
Hmm.
answer, I also care about how it was delivered. That shows
Okay.
that shows were you prepared for it? That also shows can you think in the moment,
Hmm.
right?
Yes.
So I think you spoke about like learning of the models and everything,
Hmm.
right? I would want you to talk about, and you could have actually tied it up back to the last question. You could have been like, the last question that we spoke about is the greatest example of how I want to grow as an analyst, because I
Hmm.
got to learn something new and I added that to it, and now I'm working on different projects related to the new skill, and that's how I want to grow as an analyst because I want to be challenged. I want to
Hmm.
work on data and applications that I've never worked before. That's the idea of growth for me. Very simple,
Okay.
right? How do you feel
Hmm.
about that?
It's a pretty good answer. Yeah. First, uh, just connecting the previous answer and telling this answer. So it's a
Correct.
nice idea. Yeah.
Yes, because now it looks like you're having a conversation and you're going back to, what we spoke about in the last meeting?
Hmm.
Kind of that, right? So it turns into a conversation, then just an interview. And
Hmm.
also, if you can't think of anything, then it's always good to go back to the last question and be like, oh, how I answered that one? This is
Hmm.
what I think in this as well. And that was a great example of growth.
Yeah.
Okay. And the next question was tell me about a project when you had to manage multiple deadlines for data analysis tasks,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
I love that you talked about like, oh, how on call you have multiple priorities, you still take care of both of them. But and then it can be challenging as time, and then you want to make sure that the team knows that you're on call and otherwise also.
Hmm.
What I thought that it was pretty centralized to just Amazon experience or just an experience of being on call and also managing your daily task, right? So if
Hmm.
my company doesn't have that on call, then I cannot think that you would relate with my company as a candidate,
Yes.
right?
Hmm.
I would have loved to hear from someone who has 5 years of experience, something more about reporting, documenting, open communication about priorities and deadlines, a very
Hmm.
clear idea and communication with the manager that hey, this is all what I have on my plate. How do I offload something which does not need my expertise in the moment? Can I delegate something to other people?
Hmm.
Right? What the most important thing would have been like, oh, I want to make sure and I structure and slot my time in a sense where I know I have given 2 or 3 hours to this project and
Hmm.
then I need 5 more hours. How am I doing it? Where am I taking it out from? And does my manager know that an 8-hour project actually is taking 10 hours of my time? So I want to
Hmm.
have that open communication with the manager. I want to hear that from someone who has 5 years of work experience. What you said, I would rather hear it from a fresh graduate.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
Got
sitting
it.
here for a very critical feedback, and I love that I'm giving that because that's my whole job.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty good. Yeah. I just love it. So I
Yeah.
just love
Okay.
what I have done wrong, so that I can correct myself. So yeah,
Oh, yeah,
it's pretty
absolutely.
good.
And honestly, there's no wrong and right. I
Hmm.
understand where you're coming from because I'm pretty sure what everything I said, you all already do it, right?
Hmm.
You just don't think that it is important to share, but it is extremely important to share that because then it sounds professional, then you sound organized, then you sound that you're so aware about every hour that you're spending in a project, which I'm
Hmm.
pretty sure it's practically not possible.
Yeah.
But you were just saying that out loud that oh, I was in a meeting for 5 hours for the same project. काम कैसे होगा? Like, how so many times we
Hmm.
say that, oh, we have been in a meeting for 5 hours. How are we supposed to work? So that's you actually keeping a time check. You just don't say it
Yeah.
to the manager. Yeah.
Yeah.
But in your mind, you do it, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I think the next question was about the collaboration that you said that was difficult or it was unexpected, and then you had to frame it on this time,
Hmm.
correct? Correct. So I think situations you explained, project you explained again, you didn't say what your role was, or maybe I missed that, but you didn't say what your role was.
No, I didn't say that. Yeah, I have to.
That's always follow the star method that people say,
Yeah.
but I like saying it Carl method, which is context, action, result, and learning. So do that Carl method, and if you don't have any context, any situation, then do the AI, which is action and the impact. What was your action in the project? What was the impact of it? Pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Um, for this collaboration, I think you got into a lot of technical words because one,
Yes.
maybe you didn't know what to say, so you started with the actual process of everything,
Hmm.
which as a recruiter probably I couldn't follow. And I think multiple times you said SNS and SQS and something, and in my
Yeah.
mind, I was saying,
Yeah.
I'm just pretending to not know any of these things,
Hmm.
right? So I'm just going to pretend that I'm just going to write it for the hiring manager, yes. But in the moment, you kind of lost me from there. So when I want to talk about collaborations, I want to know what the project was, but how did you all collaborate? How did you make sure there was communication? How did you make sure there was resource allocation, proper resource allocation? There was a set expectations. How did you all delegate? All of those very in like nitty gritty of how two people or two teams need to work together.
Hmm.
It wasn't only about the project. What you did is you only kept on explaining what the
The
project.
project. Yeah.
I care about you more than I care about Amazon project.
So we have to tell about the people management also. How do we just uh, dissected the project one after the other? How did you assign the work to the team?
Yes. And then so like let's say for an example, if you want to talk about how was it assigned, you can always be like that, oh, we got resources from the other team because um our hands were full and we really
Hmm.
need an expert advice on it. So we started collaborating with the other data team, or let's say with other analysis team, and then we were working together on this to achieve this. Now this is a context, and the
Hmm.
action was to get people from outside, right? What was the result? Because of them, we had we reduced the time duration by, let's say, 3 weeks on the project. We could launch and deliver it before time, and that kind of impacted the overall customer base. And then you can answer whatever numbers that are for you. So let's say 5 million customers in terms of whatever, right? Or you can be like, the next on call was a little easier, or there were no on calls, or there were a lesser number of on calls because we
Hmm.
did this. So I didn't hear a lot of quantifiable impacts in that also,
Okay.
right? And I didn't force you to say it because that's something you don't have to do it, but it's always good to hear a little bit more quantifiable numbers. And I'm just looking at your resume, you do have quantifiable numbers. So if
Yes.
you know for some of your projects where you can just throw it out there, let's say if you're asked five behavioral questions, try adding a quantifiable number in at least two of them in terms of either
Okay.
impact, in terms of either data, in terms of either how many people would have impacted if you wouldn't have done anything about the project.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Hmm.
And then we asked about why this role. Um, I didn't get the idea when you said that from where the company is coming, you might have a lot of data. I didn't understand what did that mean.
That means what I thought of to say was that uh, you have a large database, being a big company, and then you work from customers. We do get a lot of data, so that's what I meant.
Okay. So I know
Yeah.
that you said that I was an uncertain question for you.
Hmm.
I definitely want you to be extremely prepared for it. That's a very obvious question that they can ask, why this company, why this role.
Hmm.
I'm not sure if the recruiters are asking that in the market from you right now, but that's a very like it's out there. Like, tell me about yourself. It's out there. Like, why do you think
Yeah.
it's good, right? They won't even think if they find a minute extra with you, they'll probably ask you this question. Um,
Hmm.
so make sure that you have a good answer, and then you can always talk about the company's project. One of the projects the company is working on, you can just answer.
Hmm.
You can just say that, oh, the project that you all did, or um, I read about this, and then I was very impressed in terms of the way you filtered the data, the way you created it, the way you curated that. Whatever you want to add it, just add a little bit personal touch to it as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Because when I said why this role, you talked about why you as a candidate is a good fit.
Hmm.
You didn't say why this role fits well.
So that question, so is the recruiter asking me, is would that be fit for me, or else why this role? That means why did I apply for that role?
Yes. Why did you apply for this role? Where does it sit in overall growth? So if I were you, I would say because I bring in A, B, C, D, E,
Hmm,
A, B, C, D, E skills on the table, I think the role is offering this. So the role is related to like you said that, oh, you've put it out there like Tableau, that you want
hmm,
you need someone who's done Tableau. So then you can be like, oh, because in my work experience I have used this application and these are the projects that I've worked with, and I really think that it aligns with what you all have put in the job description, and also it aligns with my overall growth of the next step, because from the projects that I'm working right now, this also aligns in terms of my growth. So it needs to be why this role is a good fit for you rather than why you are a good fit for the company.
okay.
It's a very thin line of difference for them.
Yeah, it's a very thin line.
Yes, but why is it a thin line? Because why is it an important thing? Because it's a thin line of difference. But when you start speaking about it, then the other person can know that if you're answering why this is a good role for you, or are you answering why are you a good fit for the company? They're two different things. Because when you said, like, I'm the great fit for the position, I bring in people, technical and analysis knowledge to the role, then it sounded we are talking about you being a good fit for the company.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. What questions do you have for me? I think we already spoke about that a little bit, that you can
Hmm.
just try to. Okay, we're 3 minutes out. I would love to hear what questions do you have? What other concerns do you have that I can answer?
Uh, Regarding the sponsorship, should I ask them? Do they need? Will they sponsor in the first itself, or else if they don't ask that question, I should just skip it.
That's a great question. Okay, goes with the company. Honestly, most of the bigger
Hmm.
companies do it, so you don't have to ask. You can actually take that risk. But if it's a smaller company, then I would probably say just ask it away, because it's just gonna be. It feels like it's gonna be a waste of your time if you'll keep on
Hmm.
interviewing. But the second half of it also sounds like if you interview, it's only practicing, right?
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, yeah, it's still practicing. So if, but you, I think it's only like they would probably ask you that question. But if they don't
Hmm.
ask you, then don't ask that question. It's just gonna be practice, but then do not have your hopes in terms of like, oh, I interviewed with 5 companies
Hmm.
because you knew that three of them were not going to sponsor. Do not keep that in your data. You knew
Yes.
from the beginning that these are going to be my practicing interviews. So do not keep that false number in your mind, because it's going to keep you down.
Yeah. Okay. So that was one question. Uh, and also the questions to ask, I think I have asked. So the question that I have was good. So I'll ask them. You said those were good questions.
Yeah, they were good questions. The I wouldn't say typical career progression. I would probably say what is the career growth, or the career progression looks like from here for this role. That was a good
O-
question.
Okay. So yeah, those were my questions I have asked in the start only. So the questions, yeah.
Okay, perfect. And I would really say that overall, I think your answers for each question was a little short than I would want them to be. And that's why I could actually ask 8 questions, because usually I think I've always asked 5 questions in a behavioral task.
Hmm.
I've never asked more than that. So try making sure that you are speaking at least 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes to each question. Um,
Hmm.
because if you would not, then I'm just going to keep on asking you a lot more questions that would
Okay.
probably be more uncertain then, because I don't think I prepared like, or I thought that I would ask more than five. Like I
Hmm.
had questions written, but I didn't know that I would, get a chance to ask more than five.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah. Ah, no, no. I'm just asking. I thought of to ask you. Uh, I think I should not disturb like this in the middle when someone is speaking. So that's the one thing.
that's okay. That's it. One solution starts with the realization, but
Hmm.
I didn't feel like you were interrupting me. I just felt like you had a question and I was saying the same thing. So please say.
Hmm. So how is my tone and intonation? I'm speaking too fast, or else this speed would be good because I'm a person who speaks pretty fast.
You were fast in some of the answers, and I have that in my notes. Literally, three things too fast. One is you were giving too short of an answers, and sometimes you were doing technical, too much technical words. Were
Hmm.
my three feedbacks. I would say you're only speaking too fast when you know what you want to say the next,
Yeah.
right? You
Yeah.
just know, okay, oh, this is going to be the next thing, and you're just thinking in your mind, and then you're just saying it out loud. Just
Hmm.
take your time, and maybe that's why your answers were actually shorter than 2 minutes, even if it had all the information that I needed as a recruiter.
Hmm.
In 2 minutes because you were too fast. I would
Yeah.
really say that take it slow
Hmm.
and just give the other person that benefit of doubt that, oh, I have done the project. This person has not done the project. They probably wouldn't understand. And
Hmm.
unfortunately, recruiters have a lot of power to cancel you then and there.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah.
unfortunate because we're not experts, but we still have the power because we kind of understand that our hiring manager would like you or not like you.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Those
So
were my.
not yes, not too fast, but definitely fast in some of the
Okay. So I'll just maintain the same speed for every answer.
yes.
Yeah. I
Try
had this problem since I was born. So I just speak too fast, everything. So
all of us. I have been there as well, where my dad actually calls me an express train. He's like, "Yeah, you go on and you don't stop." But
yeah.
I always feel like, oh, he doesn't know English. That's why he says that this. But I know I'm fast. But I'm consciously working on
Hmm.
it. Okay, so tell me, what do you do with your hands when you're interviewing? My last question.
I'll just keep it on the table and just.
I mean, you don't flicker. You don't move your body when you're interviewing.
No, I'll just move the hands like uh the
Oh,
hand
just
movements. Yeah.
yes. But then you are not doing anything with your feet where it's continuously moving or with a pen where it's continuously moving. You're not doing any of those things.
No, 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 no. I'll just, if there's something to explain, I'll just put the pen aside, and then if I'm giving a presentation, we'll just explain it in a way that we just move the hands, right? So
Right.
yeah.
That's hand movements are okay. Why am I saying this? Because if you have a pen and you're moving this, then
Oh,
your
that's so
tone,
irritating.
yes, then your tones, then your voice and your tone would be in modulation to this thing. So if this is
Hmm.
moving fast, you'll keep on going. I have a lot of
Yeah.
clients who do that. So I really have to like make them sit very, very straight. And that's why I like doing it on video because then I
Hmm.
understand what's happening. But yes, I think you can just reduce the fast tone by just calming it all down and taking a couple of deep breaths when they're asking the question. That
Yeah.
helps.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Hmm.
Perfect. If you have any other questions for me, you know where to find me. I'm
Yes.
here with them, but good luck.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks for the feedback and thanks for everything.
Yeah, thank you so much. Good luck, and
Thank
I
you.
hope you get good sleep. It's too late for you.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm a late sleeper. I told you so. It's okay.
Yeah, correct. All right. Thank
All
you.
right.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Shreya. Bye.